Alright, welcome back to Inexpensive Arms. My name's Steve, and this could be a very fast video today. I just wanted to go over how to shim a barrel extension. So the problem is that a lot of barrels have a little bit of a loose fit with an upper receiver. This is not a receiver I'm going to be using for any of my testing. This hasn't been lapped or trued or anything, but I just want to kind of give you an example. So you notice when you put it in there, you can kind of wiggle it. There's a little bit of play. You can see that play, I assume. Okay, that can translate to lost accuracy as the barrel heats up. And so the solution is you can bed the barrel, and some people will use something like green Loctite and just slather it around the barrel extension before seating it in the receiver. And that will bed it, but that also makes it insanely hard to get it out afterwards if you ever got a barrel swap. So a better solution in my book is to use stainless steel stock, and this can be had by the roll off of Amazon for, I don't know, 10 or 15 bucks depending on thickness. And what I've done is I bought a kind of a variety of different thicknesses, starting with about 1,000th all the way up to 3,000th in just different increments. So it ended up costing me like $60 for a lot of sheet stock. But to offset that, I kept what I wanted to, and then I sold variety packs on eBay just to recoup some of my cost. And it only ended up costing me probably $10 for all the sheet stock that I'm ever going to need in various thickness when I was all said and done. And so basically all you got to do is you cut out a strip that, and you can see right here, I'm going to have to make this a little bit smaller. So I'm going to probably take just a hair more off, and I'll show you that in just a second. And all I'm doing is trimming this down a little bit. I'm using a heavy-duty pair of scissors. My wife will probably be pissed because it will dull them up a little bit, but it's the easiest way to do it. You can always use a straight edge if you have to, but the thicker the metal gets, the harder it is to cut through, and you'll wear out the blades pretty quick. All right. So once you've got a reasonably decent-sized piece of stainless steel shim stock, go ahead and wrap it around the barrel extension. We're just going to test, first of all, how far down that goes. And what you're looking for, if you look where the feed ramps are, you don't want it to come into contact with anything related to the feed ramps. You want it to be below that, something like that. So we're going to trim just a little bit more till we get it about right. It doesn't have to be perfect. All we're trying to do is just ensure a tight fit when this thing is going into the barrel. You just don't want that barrel wiggling. So we're going to be trimming that a little bit more. Alright, so let's give that a shot. Alright, that's about right. So we've got ample clearance for the barrel extension itself, rather for the feed ramps on the barrel extension, so we're not going to come over the edge there and interfere in any way with the feeder function once it's installed. Alright, so now we need to cut a slot because we've got a little bit of the barrel alignment pin is right there, so we've got to cut a slot for that. Alright, so I found the easiest way is to just use your shears and cut two little strips. They don't have to be very big. I don't know if you can see that or not, but just about a little bit wider than the width of the pin itself. Once you've got those, do not use the shears to cut this way because it'll raise the edge here and it'll make it harder to seat your barrel. I'll show you what to do here. Alright, I'm going to, now this is an old desk anyways. Alright, so now as you can see, we've got our two little cuts right here, and the best way, and I'm going to screw up my desk a little bit, but that's okay, and I'm about to get rid of it anyways. Just take an X-Acto knife or a straight edge and cut that little piece out. What you're trying to avoid, see if I can get that. There we go. give that just a little bit more of a drag there. It's right on the corner. And that's all you have at the end. Now what you're trying to avoid, and I know my camera's probably acting a little bit janky, but if you use shears to cut that horizontal strip out, what's going to happen is the shears, as they shear through, will raise up the stainless steel in that portion, and it'll be harder to seat once it comes to that part. So you want to avoid that. You want to avoid causing any ripples on the film if you can help it. And so I found that cutting 2 vertical strips and then just using it with the shears and then using an X-Acto knife to cut out the rest of it is what works best. Alright, so what you're going to wind up doing is wrapping it around, aligning it, wrapping it around very tightly like that. You'll see there's a little gap there. That's fine. Not really a problem at all. What I tend to do usually is just get a couple of rubber bands that are small but can hold something relatively tightly. And all you're going to try and do is just make sure there's a uniform surface there for it to kind of hold on to. So you're then going to make sure it's aligned, because it's going to be a lot tighter fit than it was before. Okay, I'm not going to do it here, and you may even need a mallet to tap it in. That's fine. Now I put on a muzzle device. It's not on all the way, but I put on a muzzle device just for this procedure, so if I need a mallet I can tap the muzzle device and it won't impact the crown in any way. So what you're going to do is you're going to put it into the receiver that that you want it to. Make sure that nothing catches or lifts up as you push it through. And then once you get a little bit further in, you're just going to cut off that rubber band, maintain pressure, and continue tapping it in until it's seated all the way. And that'll maintain a very tight interference fit between the upper receiver and your barrel, and it'll just help maintain accuracy as your barrel heats up or over extended shooting courses. Alright, so it's been a little 3 or 4 minute video. Hopefully it helps some of you guys, and I'll show you the finished results with how tight it'll fit inside after we're all said and done. Thanks. Alright, so welcome back. I just mounted it in my receiver that I'm actually going to use it on, and we'll be doing a video on this particular build here in a little bit. But as you can see, there's now 0 wobble whatsoever when I rock it back and forth, and that's what you want to see. There's just no play. So obviously we're still going to mount the barrel nut on there. Barrel nut will probably be torqued to 60 or 70 foot-pounds, somewhere around that range is about where it aligns, it seems like, on this receiver. But all that tight interference fit does is it just helps eliminate the possibility of shift as the barrel heats up. It may still move a little bit, but it's going to be a lot less than it was. And typically, from what I've tested, shimmed versus unshimmed with the same barrel, you can generally tighten up your groups by up to ½ an inch just by shimming the barrel if you have a sloppy receiver fit prior. So hope this helps some of you guys. It's really simple to do, not very expensive, especially once you get the sheet stock, and it can definitely improve your shooting performance out of a barrel just a little bit. So every little bit helps.